Okay, moving on. Twitter is an online social networking service that enables users to send and read short 140-character messages called tweets. It's also, according to BuzzFeed, a honeypot for That's what they titled their article about Twitter's decade-long inability to control online abuse. With story after story of people leaving Twitter due to harassment, many expected the company would formulate a coherent policy to deal with it, but they haven't. Former employees list a number of reasons for the inaction, among them failure of leadership, lack of corporate vision, internal debates over free speech, and basic procrastination. One senior employee sums it up this way, saying, seriously, if you were an alien and you came down, he said it like that, and you came down to look at this thing, you'd say, oh, the product was basically built for maximum ease of trolling. Like they must have built this for trolls. Kyle, you attack people viciously online, don't you?
Sometimes, but they're usually people I know and love. But yeah, I think Twitter is kind of like being a graffiti artist. You know, it's like it's a public thing that you sign up for voluntarily. So it's free speech. Sometimes if you paint graffiti, another graffiti artist might come and spray paint over it, something you don't like, and you just got to deal with it.
You got to deal with it. Spoken like a guy, right, Kat? Aren't guys like that? They just say, stop being so sensitive.
Yeah, but Twitter is a very special place. It's the only place where I can have somebody call me like 2 tweets right next to each other today. Eat something, and the other one like, have you gained weight? Like, it's just constant hatred, and it's not even coherent hatred. It's wonderful. They're paying attention. They're watching me, and if they're sitting around tweeting hateful things to someone they've never met or someone they have met, and I just affect them that much passionately, I win no matter what, and I love to win.
You do. I mean, do you thrive on the negative? But sometimes, look, it's not. But I know you've, because, you know, when it happens, you treat it with good humor. But, you know, if you go home at night and people are threatening you,
eating me away inside?
I'm wondering if you, does it wear you down?
She goes home and turns on some Adele and just weeps for hours.
Yeah, I weep over what, like, I mean, I gotta say though, some of you would be very surprised at what your grandfathers say to me on Twitter. Grandpas can be real raunchy, and that's a little more upsetting than the mean ones.
Wow, Madison, do you think Twitter's a cesspool of vitriol and hate?
You know, I have been harassed on Twitter.
Have you?
I have, unfortunately. But at the same time, I think it's just something that it's not Twitter's job to police harassment. And I think what these people who are complaining are really looking for is a change in culture. And Twitter police aren't going to be able to give that to them. The one thing, though, I do agree on that I'm not sure even was mentioned here was something that people have been talking about regarding Twitter allowing videos of beheadings and rapes and murders and things like that to stay on Twitter for a little bit too long. So I think they need to get better in terms of policing illegal action.
They just announced today that they had suspended the accounts of hundreds of people finally, and I think it's because they're getting some pushback or whatever. But what's the answer? How do you change culture if they don't police themselves through rules? How do you do it?
Well, I think that the culture needs to be changed with us. I don't think the internet is the place to change culture.
Starts here.
I think culture is the place to change culture. We need to do it.
Yeah, we need to go back to writing love letters and things. Remember you used to write a letter to someone?
I used to write letters back in college.
Yeah, so did I.
Long letters with my my ink and quill.
I believe that that's true about you, Tom. I believe you still do that.
I actually did have a, I mean, it was a fountain pen. It was a, or it was a pen. It wasn't a feather. Anyway,
letters.
I would write letters, yeah. Guy, you're young, Guy. You don't remember? You gotta look it up. I had a typewriter in college. I typed my papers on an old 1935 Corona. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cute.
Guy.
Twitter. Yeah. So a couple things. I agree that the policies that they have seem capricious at times. I love Twitter. I'm on there all the time. You get the hate. You sort of deal with it. But they ban certain people who sometimes are horrible people. In fact, used the word that was used at the beginning.
Who have they banned? Milo. We know Milo got banned.
So he got banned, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of his, but he shouldn't have been banned when a bunch of other equally bad or worse trolls
terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the standard here? If you bother a famous enough person who complains loudly enough, then you get banned. There have to be some set rules. And overall, I agree. It's a voluntary thing. You are not signed up at birth with a Twitter account. You choose to join the social media network. If you don't like it, if you can't handle people saying nasty things about you, which anyone gets, everyone who's remotely public in their life gets, you can either block these people, you can mute these people, which is my preference because then they don't know and it's satisfying for me, or you can voluntarily step away from Twitter. But to then say, oh, we need a huge change in the culture, I like the give and take, even with the ugly sometimes.
Yes. Well, I think it's funny. We all seem to agree. Everyone thinks you ought to toughen up.
Yeah, I just go straight to blocking people.
You go to block?
Yeah, I go straight to the block.
Why don't you try the mute? Then they don't know.
It's fun.
Yeah, I don't do the mute. I do the block.
The full block. Then people know and they mention it. And
Well, I'm just looking for a husband based on who's the meanest to me.
isn't that what you kind of it's secretly?
Yeah, who's the meanest and least attractive and oldest who harasses me? I'm gonna
Something
be
tells
like,
me you're gonna hear
come
from
visit me.
some more grandpas tonight.
I'm sure I
Kat.
will.
Coming up, do kids need tough love? We'll debate it in a bare knuckle throwdown after the break.